So the next person we're going to introduce is Heather Knight. She's a roboticist. So we're going to get some, we're on the robotics theme, right? So let's bring in Heather with a little robotic beats.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah. Next we got a young woman on a mission. She's gonna put a robot in every home and every business, just like Rosie from the Jetsons. But we'll never keep them around if the robots are creeping us out. So she designs comedy bots that please crowds. I wanna see her make a robot that can freestyle. Even it takes a little time to get it right. This woman is increasing the pleasure of life. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Miss Heather Knight. Heather Knight, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Really talented people here. Thank you so much, guys. All right, this is my robot. Save him for a little bit later in the show. So my name is Heather Knight. I'm a roboticist. I make robots. I studied mechanical and electrical engineering at MIT, and when I arrived there, I didn't even really know what engineering was. I mean, I thought science was pretty cool. You can understand how the world works. But something that's really interesting about engineering is that you can conceive of something that has never existed before and build it, like the last presentation we just saw. So it's a very creative process. Now, back in high school, I was interested in a lot of things. I mean, I did do science team and stuff like that, but I also was really into pottery. I ran track actually with Nate in college, which is kind of funny. I haven't seen him in 5 years, but yeah, and I was also really interested in storytelling, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to become an engineer like my dad, who I really admired, or become a writer. And I've come a sort of full circle. So after building robots for about 9 years, now I'm doing robots and theater. Obviously. Right, so I started a robot theater company here in the city called Marilyn Monrobot, and I'm also and I'm also conducting a PhD research at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, so back and forth. But yeah, so there's going to be 3 things I'm talking to you about that span sort of art and technology. The first one is a music video that a big pile of engineers created with this awesome rock band, OK Go. The second is this robotic flower exhibit that was more of an installation art piece in a museum on the Upper East Side here. And the last is this adorable little robot comedian, Data. So, before I introduce this first video, let me just tell you, does any of you who out there knows what a Rube Goldberg machine is? Anybody? Oh my God. Smart group, awesome. Right, so for those of you that don't know, it's about a series, it's like kind of like Mousetrap, it's a series of reactions, so cause and effect, a snowball effect. So if something falls, hits something else, there's a spoon on the lever that knocks something else, something gets on fire, it's all really crazy. So this video doesn't have fire, unfortunately, but there's lots of other excitement. And yeah, and like one last highlight, I think that what I really love about this video is it shows when you combine the talents of people that really know how to build things with people that are specialized in their talent is in connecting with people and their viewers and their audience. You can do something that's much bigger than any of those independent communities can create. So I think it's important for us as individuals to be somewhat interdisciplinary, but also even if you go into technology or science, crossing fields is often where the real magic happens. So Victoria, if you could cue the first video. How many of you have seen this before? Cool. It gets better every time. So it starts small and it gets bigger. There's 2 floors, a top floor and a bottom floor. There's about 80 engineers or builders or designers that contributed. That is the iPod that really did start the song. And it's a speaker that knocks that first ball out. remember this tire. I spent a lot of time on this Lego table. That is real. The next part's just as cool. We did kill 2 pianos in the making of this video. So you can see it's organized into individual modules. Like the chair thing is a module. These balls falling down, that's another module. And they're all connected together. Mouse traps. So I was co-manager of the first floor, so this is ending my section. We had a lot of people from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory where I used to work, hence the Mars rover. Lots of inside jokes in this machine. You can also see lots of references to other OK Go videos, which you should check out and try to find. So there's one guy filming this entire thing, and if you look in that silver ball, you can just barely see the cameraman, who is like the unsung hero of this entire video. Look at all the other TVs behind. As you can see, it's getting bigger and bigger. Now that looked fun. And that was not Nate. This is the part where it gets really dangerous for the cameraman. There's like bowling balls and barrels and cars. And he has a 50-pound camera. So lots of fun, right? You should all do this in your basement or garage. Sorry, parents. So what made that machine so incredibly awesome? I think there's 3 things that really jump out at me. One is that it has this real vulnerability. It could fail at any point whatsoever, and did. So I told you to remember the tire. The reason is, so if you start from the tire and you count how many times it took, and it took us 2.5 days of filming, it only made it all the way through twice. So from the tires, 82 takes, 82 trials. If you count before the tire, with the dominoes and with a little ball table, hundreds and hundreds of tries to get this machine right. So it's a very vulnerable machine. It's an underdog. It could fail at any moment, and you care about it. Second thing, you can see its goal. The intention is clear. Its motivation is to get forward. And the third thing I think is really interesting is how the band and the machine play together. Granted, the machine is a little bit mischievous. I mean, throwing paint on people all the time. But I'm really interested in where people and machines intersect, and I think it makes you care more about the machine, and I think if you understand the story behind a machine, then it gets a lot more intriguing. So the intersection, like I keep talking about, that is so incredibly awesome is between art and technology, art and science. And it's not the first time I was playing with that collision. I accidentally got into robotics when I was my freshman year. I was just looking for an on-campus job. I went home one day and I was like, hey guys, like I want to do something after. I want to get a cool internship. I want to get some experience. And so a guy in my independent living group, he happened to work at this robotics lab. And so he's like, you want to make some robots? And I'm like, yeah, sure, totally. You guys like making robots? Robots? Woo! Right, and I got totally addicted because from the beginning, they always had this sort of feeling of character and interest. And so this is the second robotics project I ever made. It's a robotic flower garden. And what I want you to watch for this time is there are sensor-based interactions. So it's one cohesive system. There's music, there's light, there's these mechanical flowers that move as people interact with them or get closer. So next video, please. much calmer. So those are brake beam sensors like you would have in a bathroom. So some of the things that the flowers do are very simple. There's some flowers that pan as people walk by the exhibit, displaying a sort of curiosity. If you come too close, perhaps they'll get a bit shy and they're closing up. You're having the light change, you're having the music change, it's all one integrated system. And it's not about this being a really complex behavior system, it's about sort of thinking about what it is that makes us human and what touches us in terms of what character means, and designing a system around that. A system that is inherently social. And if you can do that, you can have whole new types of applications for technology that can be in our everyday lives. I like that one. I made the copper one. That. It was the first project I designed and made all by myself. So yeah. So, right. So I'm really interested in machines with character, so this idea of social robots I think is really interesting because we already have computers everywhere. We probably have cell phones in our pocket, maybe addicted to the internet or games or even Facebook or Twitter. He has a Twitter account. It's Robot in the Wild. But yeah, and then we also have robots everywhere, which is something that we don't know as much. Generally, robots right now, they go to places where humans can't. So we have robots on the moon. We have robots exploring in the deep oceans. We have robots that do a lot in agriculture and manufacturing, even processing and sending packages. But in industry, some of their most complex ideas is about human-robot interaction is to draw a big circle around the industrial robot and say, don't go inside that circle. Now, I think we can do better than that, and that's definitely not Rosie the robot quality. So as a social roboticist, the way that we have been doing that as a field has been a lot of collaborations with psychologists. So you kind of have to reverse engineer some of our human social behaviors to make something that could respond to us in a natural way that knows some of the rules of the road in the hallway. Like maybe don't barrel through that door before grandmother, that's rude. And also, yeah, just to make people empowered. So I've been collaborating with comedians and have created an act for you on this robot. So, without further ado, in this larger idea of combining art and technology, I brought a quote in from Albert Einstein, which is, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and all science. So the unknown, the mysterious, is where art and science meet." And the other thing I wanted to tell you about is this robot film festival. So you saw in the flowers there's this sort of ambient interaction, whereas in the first video there's this idea of narrative. And I think narrative can have a really powerful influence. Like I don't think you can talk to any technologist or anyone that decided to become an engineer or scientist that wasn't inspired by some sort of movie or writer. How many of you seen WALL-E, perhaps? Great. So totally awesome. And yeah, so I knew that this field, this intersection of entertainment and robotics is a lot bigger than something that I could do alone. So I'm throwing this festival where there's lots of short films that's here in the city next month on July 16th.
Let's go.
So it's kind of like a Oscar award ceremony and a Sundance all in one.
Hello, everybody.
With robots.
Can you hear me? All right. The volume is good. Okay, thanks. Let's do this. Well, take a good look. They call me Data the robot. Gosh, I love saying that. It makes me feel like some kind of superhero. But actually, I am just a mediocre robotic comedian. I was just in the United Kingdom last week. Remember, the guys you fought the Revolutionary War against? Right, well, the red coats were teaching me about some author, or was it a movie director? Anyway, they said his name was Shakespeare. Have any of you heard of Shakespeare? Okay, I see 2 or 3 people saying yes. My perception capabilities are still in development, so I apologize if I am overestimating your name recognition. Right, well, perhaps this will sound familiar. It is an excerpt from The Merchant of Venice, though I took slight poetic license. I am a robot. Yes, a robot. Hath not a robot video cameras to see affectations, passions? Or at least can he not be programmed to simulate these things? Are we not fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases? Okay, maybe not. But if you prick us in our battery pack, do we not bleed our alkaline fluid? If you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we are like you and the rest, which I admit we are not, we will resemble you in that. I would like to say it is a pleasure to be here, but despite what you just saw, I am a robot and know no emotion. Heather, how about you get working on that emotion program?
I am.
Fair enough. My programmer designs my presentations with the goal of driving innovation in social robotics, which is the integration of robot helpers into everyday life. So you might as well get used to this. Right, guys? Social intelligence is so complex that many humans are not good at it. Any teenagers in the house? I rest my case. Do not feel bad. My interaction capabilities are worse than yours. Using your feedback, however, my programmer hopes that one day I will be an autonomous, robotic performer. Like Justin Bieber? Or perhaps Charlie Sheen is a better choice? That's what is called a tagline in comedy. One day, I might be able to choose my own tags just by searching the internet. According to my feedback data, you are a wonderful crowd, and I am really glad you are here for me. Because I want to tell you one last story, and I'm not sure if you know it. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the galaxy is living in dark times again.
Somebody figured it out.
The dark forces are back. But a night is coming to save the galaxy. Accompanied by his faithful friend, now 2D2. They fought the enemy with bravery. Finally, the enemy was defeated. And peace settled again. Thank you. It has truly been my pleasure, World Science Festival. Goodbye. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Cool. Yay.